Howdy, howdy. Sidova here, and welcome to our bottom 10 infantry under 400 gold video. Now, I'm going to be looking at all the infantry under 400 gold. I've already done a video of the middle 9, I guess, from number 11 to 19. This is technically number 20 to 29, and that's how we'll go through it. I have done a primer video to go over what I'm testing. I'm really looking at infantry at 400 gold and under versus other infantry to get a data point in that evaluation set. And of course there are many ways to test units, and there are many things you can try and get out of the testing. The primer goes over what I'm testing precisely and what I'm trying to get out of it, so consider it a data point to add to other things to consider when you're looking at your own units. It isn't the end all and be all. It's a pretty straightforward test to give some very specific data and information, but we'll the only way to get that information is to do your testing. So on to the bottom 10, really number 20 to 29, and that's how I'm going to count them down in the worst units at 400 gold and under. And in an infantry fight, we would expect units that aren't generally intended for infantry on infantry engagements to be down here in the bottom 10, and we do start with one which is from the Beastmen, the Ungor Spearmen Herd with Shields at 350 gold. They come in at number 20, and you know, this is kind of the thing that you would expect as a theme for the bottom 10 is spearmen. They do have the anti-large, the defense against large, defense against charges, which, and they have shields, so these are things that should reduce their overall value. You got to give up something to get those stats, and you see it in an infantry on infantry engagement. Coming in at number 21, which was really my first surprise in this data set when I did it, is the vampires with zombies at 150 gold. Now, zombies are a pretty weak unit. They really are a tar pit unit. They do have other benefits in that they will never run, they will just disintegrate. And if you look at the way I tested undead units, you know, kind of it brings that into a bit of a better understanding. But yeah, they're coming in at number 21, really the 9th worst unit under 400 gold, which is unfortunate. I think zombies should be worth a little more, and I did a video on them specifically. So coming in at number 22 is the Tomb Kings, Skeleton Warriors at 325 gold. The undead do tend to have a lot of weak infantry, and here is a unit, a Skeleton Warrior, that probably should be up a little bit more. They're not a spearman, you know, they are meant for an infantry fight, but you know, they're kind of in here at number 22. The next unit at number 23 is from the Beastmen, and that is at 300 gold, the Ungor Spearmen Herd. Now, this is kind of an odd thing I've saw in this testing, and I will have a video after I'm done the top 10 to review some weird things I saw in the testing, and this is one of those weird things. The Ungor Spearmen Herd is coming in lower in an infantry fight than the Ungor Spearmen Herd with shields. Really, it should be the other way around, because you should give up something to get those shields, and that should be some sort of combat capability of some sort. But here it's actually turned around. When you look at the total value, the Ungor Spearmen Herd with shields are just straight up better than the Ungor Spearmen Herd, which would say there is no scenario where you'd want Ungor Spearmen Herd over Ungor Spearmen Herd with shields, with the exception that you just didn't have the extra 50 gold. And that's it. So one of the odd things, and there is a theme, and there is one faction that all of their units line up as they should, and we'll get to that at the very end, but the Beastmen definitely don't. This is sort of an oddball number, and maybe had I done more testing, they would have popped around, but looking at where they lined up, I just don't think so. So at number 24 are the vampires with their version of the Skeleton Warriors at 300. Now, this is truly the Tomb Kings version of the Skeleton Warriors at 325 came in at 22, and the vampires came in at 24. And this is a bit of a testing issue. So I know the testing is pretty decent, but obviously not perfect, because The vampire skeleton warriors have like 10 extra armor, maybe 1 extra charge bonus. They're very slightly better than the Tomb Kings, who do have that faction heal that goes off 3 times during a battle, etc., etc. So that is a little bit out there, but really that's at number 24, skeleton warriors are coming in for the vampire. So number 25, now this is the 5th worst unit under 400 gold, and you know, a unit that I would expect to see down here is from the Skaven, the Clan Rat Spears at 350 gold, coming in at number 25. Now these are perfectly reasonable to expect your spears, all your spears, to be down here in the bottom 10 when you're looking at infantry on infantry engagement, and you do see that. Coming in at number 26 are the Skaven again, with Clan Rat Spears with shields. And this is the correct order that I would expect to see them in, that, you know, you'd have your Clan Rat Spears, and then lower down you'd have your Clan Rat Spears with shields, because they do have to give something up. Coming in at 400 gold, and it's the 4th worst unit under 400 gold. Now coming in at number 27, the biggest surprise, well, one of the biggest surprises in all the tests, and something that was very curious. From the Beastmen at number 27, 3rd worst unit under 400 gold is the Ungor Herd. Now this is a unit that isn't spearmen, doesn't have shields. At least I don't think they have shields. They really a unit that should be better. Well, I guess they do have shields. So, but a unit that should be better at 400 gold, and sort of in that, you know, not absolutely throwaway tier unit, coming in worse than the Ungor Spearman Herd at 350, and the Ungor Spearman Herd with shields is really poor, and 3rd worst from the bottom. That is a serious, I don't know if it's an oversight, but it's definitely a problem. The Ungor Herd should definitely be above Ungor Spearmen in an infantry engagement, and that they're extremely weak. Now, I know from testing in games that the Beastmen have pretty weak infantry. All in all, the only really good infantry they have, I would say, are the Bestigors, which are fantastic, and everything else is sort of throwaway. I mean, they do have good speed and some other possible stats, but really where the Beastmen shine are in their Centaurs and their mobility, and they have a couple, well, at least one outstanding lord and everything else like that. But these Ungor Herds being 3rd from the bottom is just wrong. Like, they really need to be maybe not way up there, but definitely above the Ungor Spearmen and the regular Spearmen, the Spearmen with shields. In terms of the value they pull, they were just atrocious. All right. At number 28, 2nd worst unit in the under 400 tier is from the vampires, and that is the Skeleton Spearmen at 350 gold. This is exactly what I would expect, kind of a weaker unit, and we know undead units are generally a little bit weaker because they do cause fear, they never rout, and they can be regenerated and stuff like this. So this is exactly what I would expect to see. The Vampire Skeleton Spearmen at number 28, 2nd worst of all units under 400 gold in an infantry and non-infantry fight. And at number 29, the worst unit in an infantry engagement under 400 gold is the Tomb Kings version of the Skeleton Spearmen at 350 gold. And this is again what I would expect. They have a little bit less in the way of stats and armor, and something that makes perfect sense, understanding the way the mechanics of the game should play out, and is what I would expect. Really, the big thing in all of this testing is, I think, those Ungor Herds, for sure, and the zombies, I would think, should be a bit of a better value unit, considering they're so weak in combat and so slow. But that is what it is. That is the bottom 10 units, the rank 20 to 29 of the units under 400 gold. I don't have much else to say. I have one more video where I'm going to go through the top 10, and I will do a video beyond that where I'm going to do some deeper analysis, where we're going to talk about some of the matchups, and I'll do some other sort of just fun testing to show how these things line up, because often it's nice when you do a value calculation like I do, the way I do my spreadsheets, it's nice to do back tests and different sort of tests to verify that the calculation makes sense, and I will do that in the final video and analysis and thoughts on units under 400 gold. Anyways, hope you enjoyed it. Love to hear some comments down below, and love to see if you guys have done any of your own testing or have any thoughts on the way that these units have lined up, and your thoughts on the Ungor herd. I mean, I really think the Ungor herd should be much higher in this list. They definitely, from the testing that I've done, need a buff. You know, you could argue that they don't need a buff because the Beastmen have a lot of other good units, but that's what I would argue. And I have done a full video on zombies because of this testing, that they really need a buff as well. Anyways, I would love to hear from you, and because I always love comments, you know, no matter what kind of comments they are. And with that said, I will see you soon.